so far. This is my lunch hour, so I'm taking a break, and I hope you're taking a break too. If this is the time that you get a chance to take a break. Hi, if you have not been on one of my lives, I am Desiree Cocroft, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. I am a self mastery architect. I am also an executive life and leadership coach, speaker, and author. I love working with women leaders, helping them to get more self aware so that they can increase their impact by increasing their awareness and their identity of who they are so that they can be who they need to be in their next level of leadership, whether that's leading their organization, transitioning to another organization or industry, or starting a passion project or business. I love helping high achieving women do the things that they desire to do and having the confidence to do it while also enjoying the life that they desire to live. And so I hope that you are enjoying your life by taking a little break your break today. And I just wanted to come to talk about really defining your success. So in my book, Success Hacks, Get Your Life Today, so 7 success hacks for life, leadership, and business. Say that 3 times really fast. One of them is to define your success. And so many of you already know that I'm having a Lead and Live Masterclass this Saturday. And I think one reason that we have a hard time having the confidence to lead and live our lives boldly is because we have not truly defined what success means to us. And so confidence comes from making decisions. I believe that confidence comes when you decide, and when you make a decision, you take action. But sometimes we don't know what to decide because we have not defined what success looks like for us. And many times we have been told the great things that we are and the great things that we do. And we keep saying yes, 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 and yes, and yes again to the things that people ask us to do because we've been good at it and we're used to doing those things. But if we're honest with ourselves, at times we are simply in our comfort zone. We're simply in that area or that zone of excellence that Gay Hendricks would say in his book Zone Genius Zone, that we're living in our zone of excellence and we're so used to being in that space. Perhaps we've been in that career space for a number of years, or we're so used to doing the work because people keep asking us to do the work, but maybe the fire that we had around it has kind of dwindled, or we just have other things that we have gotten a hunger for, and we're just not being satisfied at where we are. And so with that being said, sometimes that just means you need to stop, take a deep breath, stop, take a moment and reflect and really define what it is that you truly desire. And I think that this is difficult, or it can be difficult, especially in my opinion, for women, especially women leaders. I think that we don't stop and ask ourselves what we want. we can be really servant-ish and really wanting to serve the needs of others and really wanting to do what other people are asking of us. Some of us may be recovering people pleasers like myself. And sometimes because of those things, and we don't want to hurt people's feelings, we don't want to step on any toes, we tend to put what we want on the back burner. And sometimes we just simply talk ourselves out of what we want. And so I think it's really important to define what it is that success looks like for you. And I don't know if we've done that probably since we started being great and working places and starting businesses and all the things. It's a kind of a question like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And it's like, I'm a grown up. Should I still be asking myself that? And truly, I think most of us have had multiple careers and positions over the years, and so we know that in fact that's a question that never stops being asked, right? What do you want to be when you grow up next year? And so it's really important for us to define what success looks like for us, and being okay with what it looks like for you, and knowing that it can look however you want it to look. There is no wrong way. The right way is it being aligned to your values, to your goals, what is most important to you, to the lifestyle that you desire to live, and being okay with that being your definition. And it doesn't have to look like what other people's look like, and it doesn't have to look like what people told you. In my book, I talk about in this chapter define your success, about having someone that I truly admire still telling me, what he thought that I should do in my career. And it's not like what that person told me was a bad thing. What they told me was actually something that I really felt that it was aligned to who I was and what I desired to do. It was aligned to the skill set that I have for facilitation and speaking and coaching and all things. And when I was in that position, it was actually the only job I ever quit, because I found that, the organization was not aligned to who I was. And, hindsight is 2020. I was not the kind of person that I am today that would be more willing to speak up for myself in a space where there weren't a lot of people that looked like me, quite frankly. And in that regard, it was a very hard space for me to be in at that time. So all of these factors kind of played into when I quit. I kind of was really struggling with who I was and what I said I wanted. And I realized that, I didn't really take the time to think about what do I want this track to look like for me. I was basically allowing people to just kind of tell me what should be the next track for me, because I just knew that there were big things in me. There's things that I wanted to do and didn't know what it would look like. And I think that that's okay sometimes. Sometimes it's like, hey, let me see if this opportunity is, aligned to what I think I should be doing. But I hadn't really articulated it. And so, there are some things that are awesome sometimes, when we don't have it articulated, we go through a lot of experiences trying to figure it out. And I think the way life is set up, you're going to do that, regardless. You're going to kind of play around with experiences. But I will say that the more defined that I am, the experiences that I have are a lot more long lasting and with more quality. And I feel really good about them because I know exactly, the things that I want to do in this season of my life. And I think it's just important to kind of revisit that. And I think a lot of times we look at it one way, like, what do I want? And it could be, oh, I want a new job. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And really getting ourselves to articulate and lock in on vision. And I think we don't spend enough time really envisioning what we desire. We have this feeling of wanting to move from the space that we're in, and we go into I guess that's the next best thing to just kind of get rid of the ickiness feeling that we may have where we are. It may not be that we're in like a toxic work environment. It may not be that we, hate what we do, but we just hate the feeling of believing we should be somewhere else and we're still here, right? And so we kind of jump the gun sometimes, and we end up doing it before we've truly defined what we wanted, and we have to backtrack. And that's basically kind of what happened to me, among other things. That's a story that is for another day. A lot of learning opportunities from that, but wanted to use it to really, showcase that, when we don't define our success, other people will define it for us, and we end up saying yes and going along with things that maybe default opportunities, default things, whereas it's not really truly where we may have decided if we really would have gotten more crystal clear. Now, I don't want you to get analysis paralysis, right? We don't get to be analysis paralysis so much so like, it has to be clear. I don't think it's clear yet. And you take like 10 years to figure out what your next move is today. And then you wake up 10 years later, like, why am I still here? So, we do need to give us some parameters around the timing around our clarity, but we do need to, invest the time and make the time because, there's no such thing as perfection. We're not always going to get it exactly right, but we do want to spend some time really thinking and crystallizing for ourselves so that we can just make more informed decisions. And then as we experience things and things don't, always pan out the way we want, it can keep informing our picture, right? Keep informing our picture. I will say, having that experience, hindsight is always 2020, right? I would say I would have spent more time thinking about what I actually wanted. And I, would have, well, it did. What I see is the awesome part about it is that it helped crystallize for me what I didn't want. I knew what I didn't want, and I also knew what I needed to work on. Sometimes we get into things that we're not ready for. which is fine because I don't know if we're ever really ready for everything, but that's another story. But in this case, I felt like it was something I wasn't ready for in terms of my maturity and ability to be able to speak up for myself or advocate for myself the way that I thought I knew how to advocate for myself, and I found myself being just paralyzed by what I encountered in that situation. So I didn't, and so I didn't even realize that that was something that would have ever happened to me. Knowing myself, me knowing me, I never thought that would happen to me. But because I had that experience, I'm like, oh shoot, this is something I need to work on. So it did teach me something. So I don't take it back. At the same time, again, we learn from our experiences. Defining my success would have been very helpful. And since then, I have been very adamant about making sure that I know why I want to do something that I want to do and not just moving because of, again, this discomfort of where I am in the moment. Because sometimes the discomfort has a lot to do with me regulating myself. Like maybe I'm annoyed by the actions of others, or maybe I'm annoyed by my lack of having boundaries at work, or my lack of having the appropriate conversations to do what needs to be done with those that I lead, right? And so we have to really check ourselves because sometimes our success plan or how we might want to define our success or maybe some of our next steps are rooted in things that we'll actually find in our next next part of our journey if we don't work through some things now. And we may not even need to, actually make any exits. That might not necessarily be what needs to happen for our success path to be the way that we desire it to be. Some of it might just be internal things. And I think that actually is usually the case more so than not, that we have some internal things that we don't deal with. And so it's just easier to like run into the next thing. And so defining our success could also be how we want to feel. And some of the things that we want to feel are our desires to feel a different way, whether it's in our career, work, the things that we desire to do personally. Might not mean we have to change environments. In some cases it does, but sometimes it just might mean there's some internal work you need to do, right, to get some different outer results. I've definitely been in spaces or feeling like, oh, I want to leave or I want to do something different, and then realizing like, no, I just need to have better boundaries or I need to get more sleep or I need to be better at articulating what I need, or I need to be better at managing my expectations. So sometimes it's that emotional intelligence that needs to grow. Some of it is my own self-care practices. So just really understanding more about yourself can help you define what success means, because you're more acquainted to what you really need, and then you're not making up stuff like I need this to feel successful, and it's like, nah, you don't. You need to do some other things, and that'll help you feel successful regardless of where you are in your environment. So I hope that was helpful. I know I talked about a lot of things as it relates to define your success, but I think as I close up, that success is important to define qualitatively, like how you want it to look, how you want it to feel, but I think also quantitatively, like in some numbers, so you can have some other measuring points, right? Like that might be how long you want to be in a space. That might be in dollars and cents if you're talking about business, or the salary that you desire, or it may be talking about like the kind of vacations that you want to take, or how much time you want to spend, working on yourself or growing in a certain area. Like maybe it's, days of the week, like really being able to quantify it too, and as well as what it should look like, what it should feel like, what's like that crystallized vision of what you want, and then in the time frame that you want to see it happen in. So that can be some numbers too, but this is like real like vision work. And so hopefully you can take some time to define your success and have the courage, right? The courage and the confidence to be able to actually write what you say you want down. That's half the vision. I mean, half the battle is that we're too afraid to take what's in our head and our heart and put it on paper or say it out loud for that matter. And so I want to encourage you to do that because when you do that, you can lead and live with confidence, pun intended, because you already know I have a masterclass that is coming up this Saturday. It's still a few spots left. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be a great time to help you really consider what are the barriers that you may have that are keeping you from stepping into your next level of confidence. And we really want to work through like, hey, what is the gap between who you are and where you desire to be? Who you are, where you desire to be, there is a gap because otherwise you would be there. So let's get to the root of it so that we can really be clear and start making some moves so that you can see more of the life that you desire. That's professionally and personally. And so if that sounds like you or sound like someone you know, or maybe you have a network of people that you think would really enjoy this, there is still room. So you could use this QR code right here and sign up today. And when you do, feel free to let me know because I want to know if you're coming. I do get the emails, but it is fun to find out who else, especially if you were on this live. If you're coming, let me know in the comments. And I would love to know if you all liked what you heard today and what other things you would want to hear more of. So, like, share, comment, all the things, but I'm going to get back to it, and I hope you do the same. You have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will talk soon. All right, bye.